club. We've got a new book for February and I fucking love it. That's all. That's the show. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. This book's great. Let's do a little housekeeping. Thank you so much to Crackerjack1974 for the follow. Zippity doo, Sloth Lover 15, back at you. Thanks for the follow. Catch 22 did just drop 22 subs. Must be a new month. Must be a first stream of the month. We got V Fontaine. Thanks so much for the follow. 04, also my favorite number. Catch 22 has gifted subs too. Sarah Hatchadorian, Sandra 09, Sprinkles the Dragon Cats. Where are you, Jimmy? Did he not read the book? He's not here. Reen, Jeremiah 1984, Tarisk, Captain Joshy Picard, Pink Floyd, John Doe, the Corgi Cyborgy. That's the name to beat. That's the name to beat. Goes to 1111. Lube McDaniels, Tealess Panda, Nim Hithril, Rollon 99, Amanda Johnstone. It's my friend back home. Garpunkle Retro Crisis, Flying Cosmo, As a Good Go, Fiminuguchi. No, the winner is definitely the Corgi Cyborgy. Are you kidding me with that one? That's such a good name. See, this is what happens. You get to pick any username you want. Why aren't you doing a dog-related pun/nerd thing? It could be anything. I will reward those with good ones, and I will likely laugh at those that are tragic. Where is, what was it, Morgue Poop? What was his name? What was that guy's name? It's just like when people, anyway. Kate says, my favorite username that I ever saw was someone named Fruity Booty Juice. Just rolls off the tongue. I'm sorry. No, but when you say it, it's like, fuck. God damn it. Ah. Thanks, Kate. Kate, I'd like to blame you somehow, if that's all right. Kate, how you been? It's been a minute. Kate, give me attention. Ah, yeah. Fair. It's really good. I really like this book. All right, so we're going to go full spoilers for the first half of the book, if that's cool. But I would love to have you weigh in and be like, this is piquing my interest, or firm no thank yous. Toaster Poster said, the one that made me laugh was someone named Stink Wrinkles. Oh, I'm going to think about that for too long. Nothing past chapter 4 only. Oh, no, we can't hear Discord. Oh, we can't hear Discord. Thank you so much for that, Feminine Fig, for helping me out there. To recap, what did we all say? Kate has said that hasn't read this book, read Court of Thorn and Roses, so had a month off for January. Hasn't read this one, and I've just suggested that we have open dialogue about the first half of the book. Only one N. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that one. I would love to hear, I mean, Thierry has confessed already. This is not Thierry's first time with breaching this code of conduct. What did you do, Thierry? Again?
I finished it.
Oops, he finished the book. Yeah, we're supposed to stop at 24. What chapter is everyone on? Can everyone who's here let me know what chapter that they're on? Tim didn't read the book. City?
Nope.
Didn't read the book. Just here for a good time.
Sure.
Vaden?
25.
Okay. Robin?
25.
Look at these gold stars. Lisa?
25.
KP Dubs?
24 was what I thought we were supposed to read through, not 25.
You better read that chapter 24 real fast.
I
Real
haven't
I read
started
24.
25. Yeah, I haven't
Stop at
started
25.
25.
Yeah, you
I
stop at
finished
25.
We're on
24.
25.
Yeah, I'm asking the question, where are you up to? 25, love that.
How do
Collie?
people have this kind of control? I don't understand. How do you just stop reading?
Go to another book.
Yeah.
I keep them rotating. So yeah, I had just barely started chapter 25 and then started reading Network Effect.
Oh, yeah, I've been reading Murderbot as well, big time. I also read Crescent Cities 1 and 2 and then started 3 the day after it came out and finished that. Thoughts. I have thoughts. 3.5 stars. I want to get Crescent City 1 down to 3, and I think I want book number 3 to be 3.5 stars. I'm no one else has read it, so I'll shut up. But like, all I want to say is, what is it? How does the soundbite go? Rune Dannon, Prince of the Valbaran Fae. Boom, 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 dun, da, da. Lisa knows exactly what I'm talking about because I know you have been down that spiral, that rabbit hole, that rune rabbit hole. And Rune shut up for this book. Rune Daddy. Katie, what chapter are you up to for the book? Hello, by the way.
You're gonna be real disappointed. I couldn't put the book down, so I finished it.
We got another one.
Good.
Avery, where are you up to with this book?
25.
Is anyone going to ask me where I'm up to?
Where are you up to, Maude?
I think we know, Maude.
Listen, I stopped, but just not quick enough. 29. Oh my god, there's juicy stuff from 26, 27, 28. Oh my god. But we won't be talking about that today. I want it so bad. We're not going to be talking about that today. Hello, Zelda. Thanks for joining us. This fucking book slaps. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, City, I didn't stop at 25. I read 4 ahead.
I just find the irony beautiful.
Oh yeah. 2 finished. I managed to stop, but it was like in the car, the wheels have lost all the rubber and I'm just like wrenching up the park brake. That's how visually it was for me trying to stop this book. Freddie asked if this book has smut. Not really, no. It just has this. Do you know what that is? Pulling at the heartstrings is what that was. If anyone needs a charade partner, I am available. And I'm obviously very good. Kate says it's a teen book, so smut would either be off-screen or very light. I really struggle to call this a teen book, and I'd love everyone to weigh in. Did this feel YA? If yes, why? If no, why? Okay, Katie, you're like, yeah, this is so YA.
It is there. Yeah, the smut is not there, so that's why it's YA.
Right,
And just
it's very tame for that.
Yeah.
But like thematically, I know that they're 18 and 19, and KP Dub says 18 and 19 dealing with war. It's not so YA to me. Darth Voguaco says, thanks, Catch22, for the sub. Oh, you said you're welcome. Avery says most YA doesn't feel YA these days. Why do you think that is? That's a great comment.
I feel like a lot of YA nowadays is dealing with a lot heavier topics than it used to. So I feel like it's not as lighthearted as it used to be back in the day. Maybe.
There's a lot of conversation about this in the publishing industry, and online and stuff. YA has been gearing it, or basically it's been answering to adult YA fans' demands. And as a result, the target audience of YA has shifted from teenagers to adults. And
wasn't there like a
basically
new
leaving
terminology for it? Like an aged up YA?
that hasn't
That's
caught
called new
on.
adult.
New
Like,
Yeah,
adult.
that's new
caught on.
adult.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
I would
It
classify this
has.
as new adult then.
But the problem is
It's
that they're
still
publishing
teen.
new adult instead of because young adult's supposed to be 13 to 17. But most YA books are 17 to 22. So a lot of books that they're in the YA section at bookstores, but their target audience is not teenagers.
As a bookseller, I see it where everything's going up in age because of book talk. Most teenagers are actually reading adult romance. They're not going in the teen section
shouldn't
anymore.
be.
No, they shouldn't. I had a 7-year-old come in and ask about Icebreaker. So
No, 7? Yeah, but that's because the cover of it, this cover as well. I was just talking to my mom and I was like, man, this book, she got it for me for Christmas. I was like, this book is so good.
It's the hand-drawn kind of cutesy covers that adult romance has now. But teens are in, because of book talk, they're in adult romance now. And the people buying teen books are adults. So that's where it's being marketed to. No,
Venn
it should be
diagram.
marketed to teens. And if adults want to read it, they can.
I'm going to say something super controversial. I would rather people learn about this stuff through books written by women than videos made by men.
The way some of these adult they are terribly rewritten fan fictions. I don't think they should be learning about it from those books either.
At least there's
I agree with her, actually.
Mutual
They are
consent?
terribly written.
They should learn it from their parents or a good school system.
Okay, Terry, we're talking about realistic conversations here.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. We do have a good
school
school
system
system
in
about
this
sex
economy?
talk.
Are you insane?
I was also talking to my mother about this. I mean, parents are so viscerally allergic to having a conversation about it. My mom gave the talk to all of my brother's friends because everyone was so confused and there was no discussion about it. So I don't know. At least it's you have to.
I blame religion.
Was that back in Oz?
I was in Australia, yeah. Just I understand the religious kind of talk here, especially with Catholicism, where it's
Oh boy,
that's it, yeah.
it's
US
a
was
dangerous topic.
colonized
Yeah.
by Puritans. Yeah, I wasn't raised religious.
See, also the problem with that is not just that, but there's a lot of teenagers do not have critical thinking skills, and they don't really know the difference between fiction and reality, especially when you're having a dark romance. So a 17-year-old coming in buying all these ones that's book talks oh, you need to read this, it's so good, and then it's well, sure, it's really
debasing.
dark, but
yeah.
Well, no, a 15-year-old doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality yet.
I still think it's better to read words. That's an interesting conversation. I want to get back to the book. Auntie Maude doesn't like being evasive. Yes, Colleen.
Looking at media, though, I mean, not just TikTok, but the shows, movies. Kids are watching all of that now. So I think they're being introduced to it in so many different ways and probably already have a skewed view of a lot of things. We had conversations with my boys partly because, well, we didn't need a lot of talking. We raised animals and they got the idea.
Well, I could have an entire conversation. So, okay. And this is the last I'll say on it. I have found that books of this is actually very, very tame, but like, let's just say a couple of steps up, like your Akata. I find, especially romance being written by a woman, articulates sensuality and safety far more than a lot of other media, and definitely your internet vids. I find that there is a distinct lack of a lot of men and likely women that cannot connect with a sense of safety and a sense of sensuality. So my understanding is, and hope is that by reading words through the lens of a woman, literally being like, this is kind of what we like, could be helpful, not only for women to understand, oh, wow, like that's what safety looks like, and that's what I can kind of ask for, and that's what I can be inspired by. And hopefully if men read it being like, wow, it's a really nice way to step inside what women want. At the same time, though, says Kate, I don't want to police it because stuff for adults shouldn't be hidden or tamed because some other kids might see it. That's punishing the adult consumers because of bad parenting. And I think this is where booksellers have slight responsibility to be like, oh, why this book? I would recommend something like this. This is actually a little bit more. This start here, and then maybe you like kind of work up there. But you're right. Like parents don't care if it's spoken about on TikTok. They're not monitoring. TikTok's for kids. No, it's not. Same thing. It's like what movies and TV shows they're watching. There's usually it's very not regulated or monitored. Everyone's got their own phone or iPad these days. So there's just like no real guidance happening here. But I think that books are the lesser of two evil. City, you're not wrong. City says my rebuttal to that, Maude, is Fourth Wing. That is some steamy stuff that anyone under 16 should not be reading, I don't think.
But they're reading it anyway.
Well, at least she bloody came. That's all I can say. So you can write down.
But I mean,
how to give
even
an orgasm.
when we were discussing the book, we talked about how toxic, that whole relationship is, and they just keep on going anyway. And that's not at all what a wholesome relationship should look like, at least as far as I'm concerned. But they're treating it like, this is okay.
And you know what porn teaches some people? That if a plumber comes over, they're bound to have sex.
Yeah.
Like so.
But nobody's pretending that that's supposed to be wholesome. That's the part that gets me about all of it. Nobody is pretending that the plumber really loves that lady.
He should. I do think it's like. Yes, Colleen.
I want to know how many people were reading age-appropriate books at an early age, or how many started reading early on, delving into things.
Definitely not me. I was reading way above my age.
I was not, and I hear people that are like, I was 10 when I read The Thing, and you're like, what? Why are you reading that book? No, I was literally Harry's age when I was following him through Hogwarts. Like I was definitely reading age-appropriate things. Oh, here we go. Tess says I got my iPod taken away because I was reading smut on Wattpad in middle school. Jazz! You cheeky thing. It must have been mortifying, though, to have someone confiscate it from you. I read that Anne Rice novels in middle and high school, I think. That probably wasn't very appropriate, says Vaden. Freddie, what? Oh, yeah. Okay. I think we're on the same side. I read Red Dragon around 13. I'm not sure of that book. Avery says, see, my point actually had nothing to do with smut in books. It had to do with who the target audience of the books is. So, Avery, would that kind of be like Fourth Wing? It was sort of tailored to a younger demographic.
Well, Fourth Wing's actually marketed as new adult, I believe. Like, it's actually
She's 20.
not. Yeah, so it's
She's
not.
23, isn't she? I thought she was
She's
older.
20.
Because we were
Pretty
also
sure she's 20.
Okay.
Yeah, but like Divine Rivals is marketed as a teen book, but its target audience doesn't seem to be teens.
Who's reading it?
I mean, like people in their early 20s.
Yep, that's right, early 20s.
And I mean,
I'm going to recommend this book to everyone.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with reading teen books as an adult. I just don't think adults should be demanding that teen books be catered to them. They should know that they're for teens and then enjoy them that way, rather than expecting it to be changed to fit their taste.
Like, why isn't Roman naked for half of this book, kind of thing? I love that it's not. I love that it's tame.
Exactly.
I love the beauty and innocence of this book. Oh, okay. Hey, Ro Panda, 11 minutes ago, sorry, we got very sidetracked on a tangent. Us here? Never. You gifted some gift subs, which I would like to thank you for and read out who got gifted a sub from you. Also, you resubbed for 23 months. I thank you so much for that. Also, we have a mod hype emote. So let's drop some for Ropanda, who is a mod over here. So not only gives their time, but gives back to the community. Call me Jaish. No. Lassam Brad Dark. Nope. Scott Tiot. Playing Games Lexi. Otterfet. Takanudo. Witness Protection. And Sincerely Elise. You all got gifted a sub thanks to Ropanda. If you got one, make sure you say thank you because we're nice around here. Cash 20. Oh, we did those. Thanks again. Are you? Yeah, first place. There it is. Very clearly first place. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right. I want to talk about this book a lot because I really do love it. So let's talk about what Divine Rivals. Oh, by the way, did you see I had both of the covers up here? Isn't that pretty? Which one does everyone have? Do you have the one with the faces on it? Show of hands. Do you have this one with the gold? There it is. Yep, KP Dubs is showing. Oh, everyone's got this one? I'll leave this one up. Was this because it's in Australia? And it worked because my mum looked at the cover and she was like, I was not going to read that book. So I think that maybe
that must
you're
be
right.
the Australian or UK cover because I've never seen that cover before. We only have ever gotten the other one in stock.
The faces of the UK version, says Tass. There you go. So, I mean, that kind of goes back to that conversation as well, where it's like, if it is teens for teens, make it look more teeny. And these surprise smutty smut fests with like kind of teen cartoony drawings is actually not indicative of what's in the pages. So maybe publishers need to be a little bit more age appropriate with their covers, have that match a little bit. My two thoughts. I am Tay says I've got the faces and I'm in Australia. Oh woo. Avery says my mum always said that there's no such thing as a bad book, just a bad time. She never straight up said, no, you can't read that. She would say, maybe wait a little bit. My mum's obsessed with the book Lonesome Dove. And I remember when I was 18, she said one of two things. One was, I've hidden weed around the house somewhere and I can't find it. And now that you're 18, if you have it, I would like it back. And if you smoked it, let me know as well. Turns out I didn't have it and it was hidden deep in the kitchen. And when we got it renovated, there was a very awkward conversation. And I think Mum blamed it on me, the stash. So there you go. And the second thing that she said is it's time to read Lonesome Dove, to which I said, fuck no. And I still haven't read it. But I think that one's got some pretty full-on moments in it.
Lonesome Dove doesn't seem like a mod book.
No,
it's
I know.
Much like a Western. It's like a Western.
Was there scalping in that? I think that might.
Well, yeah, it's a Western.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had no interest. And then, like, isn't Brad Pitt in Lonesome Dove, the movie adaptation? Still not enough. Still not enough to get me to read the book. Susie says, I was old enough in my teen years to start reading Fear Street. Did you think so? I read Harlequins when I was 10. Kate, what's Harlequins about? Harlequins.
They are old lady romance books. I don't even know if they even had them in Australia. They almost were like...
We had like Mills and Boon?
They're the grocery store romance
books.
It
would come out
Mills
like
and Boon?
monthly.
Yeah,
With
it's
those
almost
Yep,
like
half
the
naked
ones
people on the
with like
cover.
Fabio
it's
on the
almost like a
cover.
magazine.
Yeah, mom book or airport romance.
Well, we don't
Got
even
it.
sell them at our store anymore because only like octogenarians read them.
Yes.
My mom calls them
My
penny
grandmother
dreadfuls.
had hundreds of them.
Calls
Oh,
them
that's so
what
funny.
city?
Penny dreadfuls.
That's awesome.
Oh, I thought you
Super
were going to
cheap
say
books
penny
that are
droppers.
yeah, super cheap books that are just like terrible quality, but fuck it. They're just looking to read something.
I'm
She
just so
knows they're bad
grateful.
quality.
Oh, there you go, Ropanda. You got to thank you for the gift sub. I was just I'm very grateful that Robin has been on my level of humor this entire show so far, which is a lot of fun. Tate the Aussie says, "Wait, what don't we have? Harlequin novels." Pilangsia said, "I'd be scared to read the same romance book that my family has read. I'd be too queasy." Silver absolutely correcting me big time. Lonesome Dove is not Legends of the Fall, which is what Brad Pitt was in. I got them mixed up, and I stand by the facts, and I was wrong. So thank you, Silver. And Joris, first time chatter, welcome. Says Lonesome Dove. What's next? The Deer Hunter? I don't understand that reference because I won't read that first book. Catch22 says, "Here's one for you. My mum read a ton of religious romance." What the fuck is religious romance?
Yeah, I don't
Polishing
know. I
the
didn't read
wood
them.
of Christ?
Most
I
of them
didn't
are
read them,
Amish.
but it was a lot of romance, but it was all very Christian.
Most
So I
of them
was
are
like,
Amish, actually.
is this book about
It doesn't go
courting?
as
I don't understand.
it doesn't go beyond like holding hands.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we
Pilang
love
just
each
said
other, let's go
Maud.
pray.
That's my bad. KP Dub says
Holding
they came
hands and
out
like a peck on the cheek, and that's as far as it goes. I don't know.
miraculous
It's
Can't
all about,
imagine this
conceptions.
cut.
I have to imagine it's all about the lead up to getting married, and then they just leave out the wedding night. I don't know.
Thank you.
But my mom had shelves of them.
That's very sweet. What happened to you?
I didn't read those books. I started reading classic lit when I was a kid, and then moved into sci-fi.
Woohoo! It's a subgenre full of Amish stuff. Wow, there you go. Susie said my mum reads nonfiction books while my dad reads science fiction books. That's really cool. My parents basically read the bestsellers for all the novels, I guess. But you'd be hard pressed to find something that is like good literature that they haven't. But guys, Darren, thank you so much for subbing for 23 months. Did you read the book?
No.
Look, here's the thing about Maud's book club. It's so good that people show up having not even read the book. They're just here to hang out. Full
Almost
spoilers.
started it. But it was only a couple days ago. I was finishing something else, and then everyone was raving about it. And then I'm like, maybe I'll start it. And then I read the description. I'm like, I'm gonna pass.
It's so good. All right, let's talk about why it is so good. I'm going to start off by asking my two big cheaters, my two big, I didn't put it down as, my two big, I finished it, oopsie doopsies, to tell me about what you loved about it. Starting with you, Katie. I love that you've got the audacity to at least look a little shamed. You're just kind of like, oh. But what do we love about this one?
This book made me cry so many times that I just fell in love with it. And once like it got to chapter 24, 25, it just ramps up and I'm like, oh darn, I finished it.
Oopsies.
But I really liked it, and I have been telling everybody to read it.
Yes. Okay, it's one of these books. All right. Thierry, for you, what was it? What gotcha?
Well, it reminded me of You've Got Mail mixed with Pride and Prejudice in a fantasy world where gods have a physical form.
That's a good sell.
And yeah.
What's not to love?
First half is like that, but yeah. I'll wait to give. Well, I already gave my rating, but it's a 3.5 out of 5.
What the fuck? You just said that you finished the whole thing because you couldn't finish it, and then you gave it a 3.5.
Yeah, I was gonna hand, and when it's ended, it's that's it. Okay.
Well, there's a sequel.
Yeah, I bet. Well, that's the thing, because it's supposed to be a fantasy book, but the only element of fantasy is the typewriter and the fact that gods a physical form. I was like,
It's more like a historical. This is what I've been saying. It's like a
Yeah,
historical
so
fiction retelling of World War II with gods warring instead of countries, and there's a magical typewriter.
and yeah, I think the second book, I haven't read the second book, but for people that did, I think the fantasy part is more present in the second book.
Okay, we're getting into slight spoiler territory because you did kind of say that they
But
didn't stick the landing.
it's
but
what I think the second book has more fantasy than the first one. It's just
All right.
what
Here's
I
what
think the second book looks like.
Silva says. I
'Cause
already ordered the sequel.
Yeah. But I think I was liking the fantasy element in this one.
Avery says it's technically historical fantasy, isn't it? That's what I've been saying. Yes, because it's like it's very much sort of like the World War II era. World War One, is it? World War One, you think?
Yeah, it's more World War One, I would say.
Okay, I've been saying two in my head for some reason. Why is that?
Trench warfare was World War One.
No Man's Land. Yeah, got it.
It's World War One.
Kate asks, is it low fantasy, i.e. taking place in our world? Yes, it is technically our world, but there's just different religious, I guess, and devout sort of things. And but it's different country. It's different countries, but it's got the setting of sort of World War One. So technology, there's a newspaper, there's
typewriters.
Exactly. So I'm going to read you the description, and this is where Darren bowed out. Are you ready? When two young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war among gods to seal their fate forever. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again, but 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her family together. Her mum is suffering from addiction and her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, this is from Goodreads, by the way, not in the back of the book. To combat her worries, Iris writes, oh my God, Iris, are you kidding me with that? Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe door where, poof, they vanish into the hands of Roman Kitt, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he anonymously writes back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of battle for her brother, for the fate of mankind, and for love. They are saying it's a Shadow and Bone meets Law in this epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled powers of love. On the back, it just says, when two rival journalists find love through a magical connection, their fates depend on facing the depths of hell together. Interesting. I tried to go in not knowing as much as possible. Avery, you were saying, what was I saying? Nope, I lost it. But you were saying something about, oh yes, the fact that, is it enemies to lovers if Roman knows who Iris is? It's a one-way thing. But is this still classified as an enemies to lovers? You're pondering that. Where did you land?
I landed on no, because they're not even really enemies. Like, she clearly dislikes him far more than he dislikes her. He's kind of sassy, but he's not he doesn't actually dislike her. And therefore it's not enemies to lovers because they're not enemies. Only Iris thinks that they're enemies. And yeah. And
they're not lovers yet, says Colleen.
One-sided.
Right.
And it's kind of it's a one-sided thing because, I mean, he knows who she is, but she doesn't know who he is. And
so it's like deception. Also, Vaden says they're rivals, not enemies. That puts a lot of better context in it. And I love rivals and nemesis as a theme in anime. A lot of the time, especially in sort of the Japanese culture, it is you try to find who the best person is and you claim them as a rival to kind of make sure that you're performing at your peak level and holding yourself to a standard of someone else who's brilliant. I love that as a theme. I think the rival situation, if I knew I had to have a rival in high school, I would have done so much better. I would have done so much better than I did. I would have had someone competing with me. Yeah, fuck yeah, that's actually fun. They aren't lovers yet, Joris says, does anyone else give the characters British accents? Just me? Not just you. In the audiobook, it is voiced by a man and a woman, and they both have British accents. So 100% that's the case. Avery, you said you wouldn't call Roman cold. Would you call him hot? Because I would.
Oh god, I just rolled my eyes so hard.
That is not the direction I was going with that.
That's true. Okay. Vaden says, yeah, competition can sometimes bring out the best in people or sometimes the worst. And I would love to kind of like find out where these two sit with each other in terms of, is it bringing out their best or their worst? Kate says, I looked at it at work, bowed out after the first part of the description. As soon as I see cold and handsome as a rival love interest, I just rolled my eyes. Okay, so you're not alone there as well. I eat this shit up for breakfast though, so that's my whole thing. A little bit more about my relationship with the first half of this book. I don't actually eat pieces of shit for breakfast. Happy Gilmoring me. What's that enemy's name? What's his? Shooter McGavin. If pieces of shit were made from Divine Rivals plot, I would eat it. I'd never be hungry again. That's such a bad visual for everyone. Hey, Red Bicycles, welcome to this train wreck of confessions that you've stumbled into. It's Maude's Book Club, and we're reading Divine Rivals. So we'll be talking about the first half of it because the majority of us stopped at chapter 25. The price is wrong, bitch. Yeah, thank you. Happy Gilmore. Oh, good movie. Kay says, I'm sure you could make money off that image, Maude. Ooh, that's not how I would want to do that. I would rather encourage people to read good books and talk about it together. If you'd like to support Maude's Book Club, head over to patreon.com/Maude's Book Club. We have 3 special tiers for you, and none of them involve eating shit.
Weirdest plug ever.
Thank you, everyone. Avery says, I should specify that I don't think most things marketed as enemies to lovers are actually enemies to lovers. No, you need to have that, see your T-bones, you need to have that glimmer of sort of like, would they, won't they? And I think that that's all quite prevalent throughout this book where everyone can see it except those two. And I fucking love it. And there's times where like people are trying to confess and then someone gets interrupted, or someone's trying to finish a thought that leads to sort of like more. And so it's like we're on the cusp of them being told that they actually would work together. There's a bet around the office. There's a bet around the office that they would end up together. That was a tab in my book. I was like, oh, it's a bet now? We've got the bet part in. Nerd Boy says, I came in at a weird part. Who's going to break it to him? It's been weird for a bit.
It's been weird the entire time, yeah.
There it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Boop. Kate says, very true. It reminds me of that hilarious story on Twitter with the forbidden romance novel between the straight white physical therapist and a straight white ballerina. What was the over-under on the bet? You know, was it here that, who taught me what over-under was? We don't do over-unders anywhere else. I still don't really get over-unders on bets, by the way. Good grief, Roman. Tell her your name in your freaking time writer, says Joris. Truth. Everyone else throwing me under the bus, saying it's never not weird here, and Maude's Book Club has never not been weird. Good.
But entertaining.
There's no
But
lie
entertaining.
there. What argument was funny? Oh, about that. Got it. By chapter 3, I declared that I loved everything about this book. By chapter 9, I bought the sequel. I really like this book. I love the world building. I love the pacing of it. I think the pacing keeps you very enraptured. I love that there's shorter chapters, so you want to continue reading. Some people would even continue reading until it was over. No shame. No shame there. I'm just going to make eye contact really quickly with some of the members of the... Okay, yeah. KPW says, love the descriptiveness of the world. La, 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 la. You wrote some great questions in the document. Did you want to read it or did you want me to read it?
I kind of forgot what I wrote because I did it a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. This is what KPW said. I'm liking the descriptors that Ross is using. The smells and sounds, the rain, the wind. It's very immersive. It is interesting that every time characters are talking to each other, they are called by their last names, Winnow, Kitt, Prindle. But when the thoughts are internalized, the first names are used, Iris, Roman, Zeb. Then nearly halfway through, we suddenly get a shift from, I'm guessing, formality to an informality. I'm guessing around sort of the World War I era, formalities are very much proper and used and maintained. But I do love what you were saying about the descriptors. I love it when a book thrusts you into a universe and you can see it, you can smell it, you can hear it. I think when you kind of evoke the senses and it's done so well, it's not like an embellishment. It's not like, drawn out paragraphs trying to get you there. It's quick, it's punchy, and you get it. And I think Rebecca Ross has done an absolutely amazing job of that. What are my thoughts? What does everyone think about the pacing and the world building? Did you kind of get the fact that there's magic sort of integrated into this world and it just makes sense? I'm getting a lot of nods here. Yeah. What do you think about the world building? Is it believable about the two gods warring? Now,
I like getting the story of the gods kind of through their typing letters back and forth to each other with the myth that he's sending her and stuff. I like getting that
yes,
backstory through the writing.
I wrote, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I wrote in this book because I think I'm going to keep it because I love it. And I also want people to know my inner thoughts with the book. And oh yeah, look, I wrote on a tab and it smeared in my book. That was not good. But essentially, here it is. I wrote I said, because this is the pages where they're writing the myths back and forth in the typewriter, and I said that was a beautiful way to share exposition. I think because it really shows Roman's influence, his class, the fact that he's got access to vast knowledge, and Iris doesn't even have a book. So you're not only getting to know who they are as characters, but he's now a vessel of exposition, and he's also learning it almost at the same time as her, but he's providing that information and they're sharing it with each other. And I think through letters, what is this? Autographed. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I just think that was a very, very smart way to do exposition. Again, I'm talking about Crescent City 3. For a third book in the series, this had 80 pages of exposition, and it was just monologuing. And if you want me to just tune out so fast, that's the way to do it. So now I'm quite attuned to clever exposition. You obviously need it to understand what's going on in the world, but who is the vessel of this information? And that was a really great job. Avery says, I also love the world building. You get the history, religion, politics, magic, etc. And it's all done in a way that feels realistic without feeling overwhelming. Well said. Someone copy and paste that because that's an amazing quote for feedback. I absolutely agree. Robin's saying, this is really making me want to continue reading the series. I will have this finished tonight. Guaranteed. When we look at sort of two warring gods, let's talk about them. You've got Dacre, D-A-C-R-E, who is the underling, the god of the underling. So it's kind of like your Hades, if you go into Greek mythology. And then you have, and I think, Vaden, this is what you sort of discerned. And that Enva, E-N-V-A, I mean Enya, yeah, she is. She's like Persephone in the Greek mythology. But essentially, Dacre and Enva, were top and bottom. Robin, we outgut it. My gutter, we've got to stop it. And I look at you every time, and I'm like, no one else will notice, but you're there going, yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, right. Okay. Help me.
Here, how about this? How about this? Sky and Subterranean.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it. These two gods, as we discover through this sharing of mythology, Dacre's a dick. Yeah, we're all on the same page as that. Bit of a dickhead. He wants the pretty woman that everyone can't stop talking about. So he goes up to the surface to try and find this Enva. Where is she? He sees a plain looking woman and he's like, can't be her. We think attraction is the most important thing. So if you're average looking, you can't be important. And I'm going to get back into more of that with our characters too. So Dacre's a good looking dude who wants the best looking chick. Oh God, this is so mortified. I'm so sorry. And then he sends all of his hellhounds, these wyverns that are called the ethereals. Someone fact check me on that one, please. But basically, like, these dragons are coming out, these hellhounds are coming out, these monsters, to try and find this mystical, mysterious Enver. Turns out that the people of the planet, the humans, are saying she's going to be in the last place that you'll look. She's in the graveyard because these ethereals, thank you everyone, love that. Vade and Lisa, good job there. By sending out these monsters, they've just laid destruction, and many innocent lives have been taken on his search for this woman. And so she's there singing her songs to send them on their way. So he's kind of like, it's weird because he's like Hades, but she's the one who's sending them into the afterworld. And then when he hears the song, he's like, hey, I really like you. Maybe you can come live with me and we'll unite our peoples. And she's like, no, thanks. And he's like, what the hell what did you say? You just said no to me? A man? And she's like, no, yeah, I'm good. Thank you though, I guess, no. And he's like, cool, I'm going to just fuck everyone up. And I have a tab here that is literally called male fragility. Because Dacre got rejected. Where is it? Got rejected and decided, well, if I can't have her, I'm going to have a mantram and make sure, there it is, rejection, male fragility right here. Yeah, she literally goes, I think not, she said, and she melted into the wind before Dacre could grasp the hem of her dress. What's he grab? She was like, get those hands away from me. He burned with fury. She'd slipped away. She had denied him. So he decided he would unleash the brunt of his wrath on innocents. He would refuse to heal them out of spite, knowing that Enver would soon have no choice but to answer him and give herself up as an offering. So Dacre, bottom line, non-negotiable piece of shit, yeah? And yet we start learning who worships Dacre. Envy uses music to recruit. I thought that was so cool. She uses music as a way to summon people to her aid. So anyone who's been playing music, or like, that's how she can kind of like communicate with people. And now they're starting to, make music forbidden. They're starting to confiscate instruments. Playing piano, bloody Ms. Little is no longer playing the piano anymore because that's something that we don't do. And so I'm trying to really analyze Dacre and Enver. He's the god of the incels. There it is, Kate. We all thought it. You're not gonna have me, so I'm gonna just hurt people. I'm like, shut up. But the fact that Enver represents creativity, music, bringing things into this world and then seeing people through. Oh, that's very good, KP Dubs. That was good. This pun. Oh, she's a musical god? Duly noted. You get it? Yeah.
Musical notes.
That's it. Thank you, City. Everyone's reaction was very interesting to that. I thought it was great. I thought it was really great. KP Dubs, well done. Keep them up. Colleen said, I saw a parallel between Darren and Dacre and Roman's father, who is on Team Dacre. Funny that. I don't think it's beating us over the head with this. I think that there is a beautiful subtlety that's happening here. But you are noticing a divide. I want to ask Rebecca Ross how much this is influenced by a current political climate. I mean, it's called a liberal arts degree. And so now it's like you can you just know that the Kitts are, I mean, they're Republicans. Not that if that's your thing, fantastic, but he's like trying to be old money, but he's new money, but he wants to hang out with like the old monies, and that's not happening. And so he's just going to create some bombs and blow people up. Duh. 1 + 1 = bombs. Duh. So that is a very interesting thing. But I want to also, what were my quotes? There was some.
There was another way that I saw him parallel,
Yeah.
and the way they could blackmailed Enva
Yep.
to go be with him for the benefit of other people. Roman's father is emotionally blackmailing him for the good of the family to marry someone he doesn't want.
That's a really good one as well. I also thought that the myth between Dacre and Enva was paralleled with Iris and Roman in a way. I had thoughts about that. Where have they gone, Maude? Why are they not in your notes? Because now I don't even remember. But if anyone can piece that together for me, that would be great. KP Dub says he wants into the country club. And you can't spell country without...
Try. You can't spell country without try.
Try, yeah. Hit the wrong button.
Try.
Like counting, clearly.
Count, clearly.
And count.
You know, I said that in a sentence once and it ended the conversation. Everyone stopped talking. Couldn't believe I said it. And I was like, oh, I won't apologize. That's the smartest thing I'll say today.
Oh, you said the C word.
What do you can't say that here?
You can. It's just generally frowned upon in the States is all.
So that means you can't. Means you can't say it.
It's taken more offensively here.
Seriously, than it is in Oz, apparently.
Yeah.
Or
It's
the UK.
different cultures have
back to America being
different
prudes.
words.
Did you just get it, Robin? Yeah. Yeah, I missed the word, but I can't say it, so it's okay. Avery says, I've got so many non-American friends that it doesn't faze me. It's a beautiful word. Hey, Curious 1987, thanks again for the follow. Welcome. Alrighty, so we've talked about the world building, this beautiful, rich sort of history that's in place here. It is done in a way that is not beating us over the head, and it's subtle and believable when this is actually quite mystical. We are thrust into the newspaper, the Oath Gazette, with 2 rising stars. Oh, yes, I know. I know, Miss Necromancer. Like, it's an attitude now. It's yes, I accepted that word. That might bite me in the butt, but whatever. Vane says, just pretending you were trying to say can't, and the Australian accent makes it sound different. I say can't. I can't. 6. Can't. Super innocent. We got a cunt count happening though. I think I'm on like 9. Hey, KV Dove says, what? When? Thank you, Vaden. 652. We're in the Gazette. 2 young writers, Roman Kitt and Iris Winnow, are vying for the position of columnist. They've been there for about 3 months apiece, and because 2 people are vying for the one spot, there is a rivalry. From what we understand over the course of the next few chapters, Iris is incredibly gifted. She dropped out of high school. Roman is incredibly gifted. He's from money. And so we've got a really interesting class story. You're Romeo and Juliet, but, he's got money and she does not. We learn more and more that Iris is late for work. She's dropping the ball. She's forgetful. All of these things are happening. And it's very unlike her. And Roman, with his privileged point of view, thinks that she's sloppy, thinks that, she doesn't take this seriously. When we find out Roman C-word Kitt. Yeah, when she was going through, she was like, contrived. I was like, I can think of a better word. It really gets to the point. Poor man just wants to study literature. Relatable, honestly. Yeah, but he had to get a real job. What I find very interesting and what's really makes Iris incredibly real, her brother he's conscripted. He's gone off to war. And that was about 6 months ago? 6 months ago that happened. And mother is Kate! Who permitted that? Taz! All right. I'm not reading that out loud.
Come on, that's why I came, even though I didn't read the book.
Well, at least someone did. I'm sorry. Hey, anyway, it turns out that Iris's mum is an alcoholic. It's not a good segue. She's not coping very well with her son going off to war, and she's very much struggling. No, Kate, it's not funny at all. My segue was not clean. I'm not proud of that. It's time to get serious. Mum's struggling with addiction, and it's actually incredibly sad to see. And Iris, there's actually really interesting tests you can take. Should anyone be a child of an alcoholic, more often than not, you'll start adopting one of about 5 or 6 different traits. There is the overachiever, there is the scapegoat, there is the problem child. And it's a really interesting psychology. And I think for here, Iris is the achiever, the overachiever. She wants to excel and does not want to address the issue at all. The elephant is definitely in the room, the elephant being many bottles of empty wine. And there's just never a conversation that takes place. And it's always very heart-wrenching when the child has to parent their parent. And there's a lot of effects that happen with that. They're trying to do their best, and it's easier a lot of the time to ignore. Zeb drinks a lot too, says Toaster Poster, and that's an incredible observation. Every meeting, dude's pouring some spirits into that tea. So he's absolutely probably got his own thing. But, turning to alcohol is a big solution for some people in this particular world. There you go. Silva saying, I'm an overachiever. Clever says, I've decided using the ACE test on our protagonists. Oh, let's talk about that in the after show. I would love to dive into that psychology. And it is heart-wrenching that she's wise beyond her years because of, the fact that she had to be a parent. You see moments of clarity with Asta, the mother. Sometimes she'll be, able to mother her, and the dynamic shifts back into place of Asta being able to mother Iris and do her hair and listen to her stories and talk about boys. And these are beautiful moments that give us, the reader, hope. Should have figured that out. Should have understood that moment of hope would have been snatched away from us. We're doing a big spoiler right about now, but who saw it coming that Asta was killed? Terry says yes. Yes. Oh, everyone, well, good for you. I did not. I knew that something bad was going to happen, but I thought it would happen to Forrest and not Mother.
It's a D&D trope that your parents are dead if you're the hero of the story.
And that's how you can be set free to go on the adventure. But that's the parallel. There's a lot of parallels of Roman and Iris, because on the flip side, Roman has his freedom taken away from him. He's under a very strict household. He's been put into an arranged marriage with someone he's never met before. He's had to sort of like sidestep his own dreams and endeavors, and they both have experienced death. For Iris, it was her mother, who she felt if she'd just gone out to look for her, she could have prevented that death. And then the same for Roman. His sister 4 years ago was swimming in the lake, the pond. He turned his back for a few minutes. She died. And his parents have held him basically accountable for her death and blamed him. So both of our main protagonists have a very acute understanding of loss, and that it's basically completely consumed them with guilt. And I kind of loved that even though Roman hasn't been honest in his letters by saying who he is, he's been able to guide Iris through grief, having experienced it before. I recently had a new friend tell me that in the space of last year, 5 of their closest relatives passed. And I did not know how to respond to that because I haven't, the closest I've had is my grandmother, and I was 14. And to have that amount of loss in such a short amount of time, the only thing I could kind of say was, I'm so sorry. But it sat with me so long afterwards where I was like, God, you wouldn't even wish that on an enemy. That is so cruel, and I feel that is so unfair. How do you even console a person? And I think it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to be able to share this amount of grief with another person that I almost wanted to go back and just be like, hey, I'm not sure I handled your grief in a compassionate way, because it was so much for me to be able to kind of hear it. So I loved the fact that they were able to be there for each other. Now, I don't know what this says about me, but the instances where Iris is burying, she does not want pity. And I'm going to come back to that through line to describe Iris. She is prideful because that's literally all she has to her name. Pride in herself and what she's achieved and what she's accomplished. She will not tell her boss why she didn't write the essay in time. Can you tell I've read it twice? I fucking love this book. She's missed out on this essay. She's in a competition with her rival to write an essay and do the best possible. She finds out through the police putting out a word that a body needs to be identified, and she immediately recognizes that it's going to be her mum. She doesn't come back to work. She leaves the office, leaves her trench coat, which is Forrest's, her brother's trench coat, identifies the body, breaks down. She's at home, her brother's gone, her mother's gone. Another big thing with Iris, and because I want to talk about the dynamic between these two and why they hate each other and why they can't trust each other and why their walls are up and their armor is on. She has abandonment issues. Everyone's left her. We've never talked about the father. Father clearly has not been in the picture. Probably a big reason as to why mother's also drinking. There's got to be something there. Brother enlists, leaves her. Isn't writing to her. Abandoned. Mother technically is abandoning her when she's there because she's drinking and she's not there. She's abandoning her role as a mother in her life. And then she dies. And so she's just like, well, no one's here for me. I'm the only one who can be here for me. Walls up, protect, protect. And I loved the language Rebecca Ross uses with this and explains why she's choosing stoicism, why she's choosing to keep her walls up. If I told my boss the truth, if I told Zeb what had happened, I would collapse. I would crumble. I would sob and not be able to pick myself up off the floor. I know, KP Dubs, I read that in Fable. I thought that was really interesting. We'll get to that. And I thought that psychology piece was really important because I would absolutely be like, my mum died. Like, get off my back. Are you kidding me? I'm going through the hardest thing ever. I want you to cut me some slack. I want you to back off, give me space. But I'm going to tell you why I'm behaving the way that I'm behaving. I really and absolutely understand why Iris was in the position where she did not want anyone to know. The groundwork had been laid. She overheard Roman say, I pity her. She's like, I don't want your fucking pity. Most of the time she won't tell Roman shit is because she does not want his pity. And he's established that he does pity her already. So these I think are really beautiful moments. Nothing's an accident. I love how Rebecca Ross lays down the groundwork so much. One of the groundwork was that Iris was so distracted that she nearly ran into the tram. So it's established how easy it is. There are no barricades. If you're not paying attention, you can be hit. KP Dubs throws a spanner in the works, saying, but how did Asta end up in front of the tram? Was she drunk and she stumbled, which was my immediate assumption? But two of you are shaking your head saying, no, you think foul play is at work here. What do you think happened? What are your theories?
I think Aster stepped in front of the train. She was despondent, losing her son. She was an alcoholic. She was done with this life. So the night before, she had one perfect night with her daughter. Family dinner, curled her hair, talked to her, listened to her. And that was her goodbye to Iris.
Yeah, it was a whole goodbye, farewell ritual she went through.
I didn't pick up on that.
What I thought was that possibly Mr. Kitt was involved. Like, I feel like he was watching him talk to Iris a lot and knew that she might be trouble. She might, get his columnist job that he really wanted. I felt like, I think Mr. Kitt did something to help encourage that, or either get more involved. I don't know how involved he was, but I felt like he was involved because I feel like it was too convenient that this happened right before the decision was
Dubs
made.
is saying, no, Asta died before Mr. Kitt knew about Iris. Oh my
Did she?
God.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I know is it.
I think so. I'm
Bill
not
and Frank.
100% sure, but I think so.
What was that, Terry?
It's like Bill and Frank from The Last of Us. It's Bill and Frank. One last good day.
I did
before I go.
Get that you're. Oh, I would have cried so much harder if I'd pieced that together. Let me tell you right now, I would have. You know when I did cry for the first time? Page 92. Turn to page 92. Roman sticking up for her.
Page 394.
Thank you. I even put, 93. I put a little tab, crying. Essentially, this is where Roman is promoted to the columnist, as columnist there. Sir, this is Roman. Would you consider giving us both more time before we made the decision? Roman asked. Give us each another chance to write an essay. Zeb gaped at him. More time? In what world would I do that? Iris's heart beat swift and hard within her chest. When Roman finally looked at her, time seemed to stall. Every time they touch, every time they look at each other, there is electricity, there is a connection, time stops. Oh my God, I love that shit. Because it doesn't really exist in real life. I like to think as a romantic that it could one day. His eyes were keen, as if he could see everything that dwelled in her, the light and the shadows. He sees her. Her threads of ambition and desire and joy and grief. Never had a man looked at her in that way. A shiver traced her bones. I've had an unfair advantage, sir, Roman said, directing his attention back to Zeb. Winnow's mother passed away a few days ago. She's grieving and she'll need more time. The room fell painfully silent. Iris drew a tremulous breath. Her pulse was in her ears, and Zeb was saying something, but his voice was nothing more than a pesky drone as Iris met Roman's stare. How do you know that? She whispered. I read your mother's obituary, he replied. But no one reads obituaries. Roman was quiet, but his face flushed. And she had the frightening inkling that while she made it a point to never read anything of his, he might be reading everything she touched. Fucking cried. That was it. I was out. Are you kidding me? But then I also thought, how convenient that he read the obituary because she told him on the letter. She told him in the letter and she can't say, oh, I'm the other guy. All right. Big first question I want to ask everyone. When should Roman have told Iris who he was? Was it the first letter? Was it I'm not Forrest?
When he did.
Yes.
I think he should have told her as soon as he figured out who she was. It's just messed up. It's messed up that he's not telling her.
The last
Well,
chance where he could have done it was, I'm going to see you 600 kilometers away. It's me. I'm coming for you. That's like when he really, last chance should have. Colleen, when do you think he should have shared?
Spoilers,
well,
spoilers,
I
spoilers.
think that might have been a good time to tell
Fuck.
her then. If he had told her too soon, she would have become really defensive and not and just stopped writing to him.
I'm
You know,
sorry. That
to
was from
have
chapter 25.
And yet, in not doing so, it's super manipulative.
yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
is. Does he want to embarrass her? And initially he says, no, I want to know how she writes. This is her most vulnerable. This is like some of the best writing I'll ever be privy to. I want to be able to use this so I can best her. So that's where this rival element comes in. Avery says, like when she asked for his name and he gave his middle name. As soon as he said Carver, I was like, you ass. That's what the C stands for. Do you think Rebecca Ross did a good enough job to explain why he didn't? Or do you think that it didn't click enough and it was a bit out of character? I understand there's never a good time. You don't want to hurt someone that you kind of care about, but like it's gone too far that there's no way to do it properly. But the fact that he starts to indulge it, that's under nefarious circumstances. Absolutely. That is manipulative, City. You're exactly right. Carving up her heart. Zing, Colleen. That was a good one. Kate says, and she's supposed to love this dude? Well, she loves the version of him that she doesn't know. So she's falling for the guy who's writing these letters to her. But in real life, he knows everything about her and she's not aware that she's sharing it with someone that she's competing against. I do love as well that Rebecca Ross does drop hints that she thinks he's hot. She's like, my heart be beating quite fast when he's here. I'm going to do things that I think are irritating, but like it's because I really like him. When was a good time for Clark to tell Lois that he's Superman?
Because they're both journalists.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it. I was like, well, he's an alien. What's Zelda doing? She looks like she's had too much to do.
They're both journalists. They're competing on each other on who has the better story in the journal, and he has an alter ego that Lois likes more than him.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, he's now in a position where he's walking a real thin line. She needs to be able to share a lot. And he's now in a position where he sees her and can relate to this part of her. So he can offer her discomfort. But if she knew who he was, she'd shut down.
She would have absolutely no one. You're right. She'd have no one.
Yes. Yeah. But when she finds out, it seems like, that's going to feel like such a betrayal.
Because he's like, I think we should just keep it sort of secret who we are. And she's like, well, I'm Iris and you can find me at this address. And you're like, okay, well, woo. But yeah, he's given so many chances. Kate, to clarify, she's initially writing letters to her brother thinking that they're going to him. And this goes on for like a few months. She only writes a handful of letters. And then he finally says, you know what, this isn't Forrest. And so then they start a dialogue. And I think initially he's just like doesn't really know how to tell her. But yeah, I think that there is a part, and I wish it was explored a little bit more, that Roman knew that she needed him, but she would never accept him if she knew. So there was a benefit into him sort of like keeping that so he could support her. The best thing that Roman got out of this, though, was one of my favorite letters in the book, and yes, I'm going to read it. It is an analogy about armor. And this is so beautiful. And if you only get one thing out of the book, it's this beautiful analogy. He writes to her. What situation is he in? What's just happened for him? This is the She's just been helping
But
him with
he,
the
he's
article.
he's just found out he's being more or less forced into this marriage
Got
with
it.
someone he doesn't know. Um, he suspects his father is up to stuff, um, but he feels really trapped.
Yes. So Iris retrieved the paper and sat on the edge of the bed reading. Do you ever feel as if you wear armor day after day, that when people look at you, they only see the shine of steel that you've so carefully encased yourself in? They see what they want to see in you, the warped reflection of their own face, or a piece of the sky, or a shadow cast between buildings. They see all the times you've made mistakes, all the times you've failed, all the times you've hurt them or disappointed them, as if that's all you'll ever be in their eyes. How do you change something like that? How do you make your life your own and not feel guilt over it? And then immediately he's like, I'm sincerely apologize for bothering you with such thoughts. I hope I didn't wake you. No need to reply to me. I think it just helps to type things out. And she gives the most poignant response that is demonstrating vulnerability in a way that I think is perfect. She says, I think we all wear armor. I think those who don't are fools, risking the pain of being wounded by the sharp edges of the world over and over again. But if I've learned anything from these fools, it's that to be vulnerable is a strength most of us fear. It takes courage to let down your armor, to welcome people to see you as you are. Sometimes I feel the same as you. I can't risk having people behold me as I truly am. But there's also a small voice in the back of my mind, a voice that tells me, you will miss so much by being so guarded. Perhaps it begins with one person, someone you trust. You remove a piece of armor for them, you let the light stream in, even if it makes you wince. Perhaps that is how you learn to be soft yet strong, even in fear and uncertainty. One person, one piece of steel. I say this to you knowing full well that I'm riddled with contradictions. As you've read in my other letters, I love my brother's bravery, and I hate how he's abandoned me for a fight to fight for a god. I love my mother, but I hate what booze has done to her, as if it's drowning her and I don't know how to save her. I love the words I write until I soon realize how much I hate them, as if I'm destined to always be at war within myself. And yet I keep moving forward. On some days I'm afraid, but most days I simply want to achieve those things I dream of. A world where my brother is home safe and my mother is well. And I write words that I don't despite half of the time. Words that will mean something to someone else, as if I've cast a line into the dark and felt a tug in the distance. All right, now I've let the words spill out. I'll give you a piece of armor, I suppose, but I don't think you'll mind. I thought that was so well done. She's primarily a caretaker, and he's offering a slight piece of vulnerability, but this analogy is so great. And she's indirectly encouraging him to trust her, to remove a piece of armor, and to be more vulnerable. And I think she's also convincing herself to do the same thing. Because the reason why, I've spoken about this in my notes, why do they butt heads so much in person? And the answer is they're wearing their armor. And I think Roman's trying to, knowing all about her, remove a piece of armor to her. He finally accepts the sandwich that he was always too busy for. He's slowly letting her in and letting, a piece of armor off. But she does not trust him because this isn't the guy she's writing to. So she's just absolutely clambered up. She's put every piece of armor on, and there's dints, and it's heavy, and she's not going to budge with it. And I think that's no way, really. KPW says Zelda's reaction to when you said sandwich. Sandwich? Watch this. Ready? Chicken? Is this chicken? Is it chicken? Do you like chicken? Are you hungry? What time is it? If Zelda could say, she'd be like, what are you saying, motherfucker? You love me? Not right now. Not right now. He went to her house to check on her. Thank you, Colleen. What a beautiful moment. She stormed out of the office. She's left her jacket behind. She's not there the next day. People are saying they're concerned about her, but he was the one that grabbed the jacket, looked up her address, and went to go there. He was being followed by someone who works for his dad, by the way. How fuck's that? He's got no autonomy. He's literally being watched and monitored the entire time until he gets married. But he goes to her house and she is at her most vulnerable. She has no armor. She doesn't even have her top all the way on. And he's knocking at the door and she's just like trying to put this armor back on at lightning speed. She's like, this guy is the last person that I want to see. Why is he here? I'm angry at him. The audacity that he has to show up when I'm a wreck. And he's genuinely curious. He's not curious, concerned. He's like, you know, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And he's trying to be like, I know, connect with me. It's Roman concerned, Kitt. Exactly. What C word is he right now? Concerned. Yes. He's not able to offer compassion because he can't show all the cards. He can't tell her in that moment. Impressed, GZB. Thank you so much. But yeah, Tiri says, wake up, Iris. He likes you. But she cannot even compute that. She's just feeling violated that someone that she doesn't trust has overstepped at her most vulnerable. And the only way she can walk another step and live another day is because that armor is on to keep her alive. This is a survival mechanism. Colleen, you're saying she's defensive in this moment. Absolutely. She's literally trying to survive. And he's in her space. She doesn't want him to see where she lives. So she's battling immense grief and embarrassment. Look at the fact that the wallpaper's falling off. Look at the fact that there's wine spilled everywhere and bottles strewn all about. The last person I want to know about this is Roman, who will pity me. And again, in that moment, you're like, oh, I just wish she was able to be more vulnerable. She was not going to do that. She's afraid that he's judging her. Yeah, this guy comes from money every single day. His pants are pressed. His clothes are expensive. And even that is indirectly a gloat to her, you know, who's been wearing the same jacket every single day that it's threadbare. But I thought that was such a beautiful moment as well. And I totally understood where she was coming from. And I'm starting to understand where he's coming from as well. It was a beautiful moment. And the fact that he respects the boundary, leave. I will come into work. You can go. And he's like, if that's what you want. And we're all here going, that's not what she wants. That's not what you want. Oh my God. But that's why this writing is so great. She can't, she's wearing shoes the wrong size because she can't even buy new ones. Yeah. And she's not getting the tram because she can't afford it. So she's walking in these shoes and that's why she's late. It's so beautiful. All right. We've got half an hour. So I'm going to go through all the rest of the notes that I wrote here. When should Roman have told Iris? That's the big one. The relationship between her brother and her mother. I'm talking about the abandonment issues that she's facing here. She feels very alone. No one's dependable and, reliable. The integration of magic, it just made sense. Roman's house kind of checks on him. Did anyone else think of Nesta? Yep, Silver Flame, the house responding. Yeah, it's believable. I'll allow that one. The quote from Roman to Iris in chapter 8, I'm simply too busy for sandwiches. Sandwiches are a distraction, and distractions can be dangerous. You're like, oh, what is that? It's so loaded, that whole thing. She's just thinking it's sandwiches and she's getting rejected. He's literally saying, I'm busy. I cannot make time for you. The more I'm around you, the more you distract me, and I need to focus. Ugh. They both ask through the first half of the book, is it possible to love a stranger? Both of them ask this. The first time, it's chapter 8, where Roman is taking a piece of armor off, even though they haven't had that conversation. That's the next chapter. And he's basically confessing, yes, I have an arranged marriage and I don't want it. I don't like her. She is a stranger, but my fate is sealed. And he asks her, do you think it's possible to love a stranger? Like, she's a stranger to me. Could I even love her? And then later, when we haven't even gotten here yet, oh my God, I'm so bogged. I could talk about this book for 4 hours. When she goes close to the war front, she's in a town 80 kilometers away, and she meets Atty. Atty has also signed up to be a war correspondent, and they share secrets, so they're bonding over a vulnerability. Addie plays an instrument. That's a no-no now. And she's basically saying I align with Enver. And there's bias here when we're supposed to be unbiased reporters. And Iris is saying, hey, I got a magical typewriter and I've got a pen pal and I'm in love with him and I've never met him. And she's like, whoa, sis. What the fuck? Okay, more power to you. But yeah, and Iris goes, can you love a stranger? She's like, oh, that's why you were asking if you can love a stranger. And I think that's kind of beautiful that they're both fighting this battle, but very different ways. Susie says, the last time I was like Iris was when my dad died almost 10 years ago. I'm glad that's the last time. I'm glad that the arm is coming off. And I'm really sorry that your father's passed away. I think that's, depending on the relationship with your parents, that's probably going to be one of the most devastating pieces of news you'll ever get. Tass says, I'm only talking about the first 24 chapters in this stream. Oh, we're going to be talking about the rest of the book. Yes, next week. Same time. Empress says, the only complaint is that the gods, about the gods, is literally that their own narcissistic love story has become a problem of the human race. Yeah, that's gods for you, I think. Oh, Empress makes a really great point. It's easier to open up with something to someone that you don't actually know personally for most people. I was thinking about that big time. How many people fell in love during like gaming? If you're only able to kind of like text, or if you're only able to talk via a microphone, you have no idea what they look like. A friend of mine met her partner playing an MMO game, and they finally met, fell in love, and they're married. Got a kid together now. But yeah, you can absolutely develop a bond and a sense of someone just over text. And I think that it's, it doesn't matter the decade, you can apply it in that way. Vaden, thank you so much for being so welcoming to people who are here. You've gifted us up to Empress, to V Fontaine, and to Susie. Thank you for that. Thierry says we need to revisit the question, when should Roman tell Iris it is Carver, when we do the second half of the stream? Oh, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Because I can't say it. I feel like reading it for the second time, there's been times where he's like contemplating saying it. There's like that moment where he's really looking at her and she's like, oh my God, there's something happening to his eyes. It's like a constellation is forming. It's like all of these things. It's like he's seeing me. And then it went away and he scowls. So he's like talked himself out of it. There's like all of these nearly coulda, shoulda, woulda moments that I love. Toaster Poster says, Iris shouldn't tell anyone that she has a magical typewriter. I'm so worried about the typewriter now. You're right. There's only 3 and one of them's in the museum. By the way, afterthought reading it the second time, imagine Helena. Helena's minding her own business. Hopefully people are trying to become a war recruiter. She's just there at the Ink Tribunal, whatever it's called. And this girl walks in. And she's like, let me check out your typewriter. Oh my God, girl, do you know about the Alouettes? Yep. Do you know about this typewriter? Oh, by the way, I'm going to tell you about it. There's 3 of them. One's in a museum and there's another one. And they're all connected. And she's like, ding, oh my God, it's the typewriter, not where I'm living. And you're like, cool, that magic makes sense. What? 5, 6 days later, 10 days later, another guy comes in and she's like, okay, let's check out your typewriter, motherfucker. You have the other Alouette. And so I'm guessing she's had the same thing. Did you know?
Maude, spoiling. You're spoiling.
Fuck. So anyway, the first part of that is the only thing I should have told you. The next 5 chapters are so good. The next 5 chapters are so good. They're so good.
That's why we don't read ahead.
I know, I'm not supposed to read ahead. I was like, I will be so good about this. I read it and listened to it again. I'm like, this is where we stop. It's so good. I apologize. Guys, please read it tonight. I'm so sorry. Avery says, look, I knew that was going to happen anyway, but I'm blushing. At least I'm embarrassed enough to feel that I shouldn't have spoiled. Oh, I've spoiled twice now. Fuck, I'm so sorry. Okay. I liked the moment where Roman asked her to guess his age, 19. So she knows he's 19. Who else is 19? She knows. Says he's an old soul. And I was like, what's that got to do with the gods maybe? Roman is based in facts with his writing, and Iris is based in feeling. I think that is a beautiful combo. And I think, was it KP Dubs? Lisa, did I ruin your night? Are you like, this woman freaking spoiled the book that I stopped at chapter 25, and here she
No,
is.
my sister's next to me and she's like, Maude spoiling the book again? Tell her to calm her tits.
No. I will not. Can we all read ahead when it's a good book, please? I'll have less chance. I might have to do that. I was like, guys, I read to chapter 29. If we could all read to chapter 29 immediately, that would be great. A beautiful moment was when she was helping Roman with the article, and she said she wondered if she'd inadvertently just given the promotion to Kitt. The answer was yes. The answer was yes. It's the best article he ever wrote, and he recognizes that. I think that this is one of the few times where they're like, actually, I know I'm getting the credit for the thing, but a woman actually helped me, and it needs to be recognized that she did this work, and what you think I'm good at, it was her. The amount of good ideas that I would say, like under my breath, and we should do that, or this is a joke, humor. I will say it quietly because, can't be too much in group situations. So I'll say it quietly. And then the guy next to me will say it louder and everyone laughs. That has happened so much to me, to the point where I'm like, oh, that was so cool because I just said it, but I love that you took the credit for that. More power to you. I am ruthless at this stage. Do not take the credit for my humor. I earned that. I earned my wit. Should I say it louder? Probably, sure. Don't take it. Don't take it as if it's yours, because I will take it back so fast. That always happened with like, oh, what about this idea? And I was like, oh, you mean the one that I just said to you, and now you're bringing it up as if it's your own idea? I think it's great because it's mine. What does everyone else think? Got no time for that. Chapter 13 is the first time Roman calls her Iris, by the way. Hellhound's coming out. Okay, so with nothing keeping her in oath, Iris is like, so long, Stinktown. You didn't give me the promotion. I don't even want to be here anyway. A beautiful ticket arrived on the desk in the form of double income war correspondent with the enemy. See ya. She goes. This is obviously like a big tonal change in the book because we got really comfortable being an oath. We had an idea of what was going on. The pinnacle point was going to be who becomes columnist, and it's not Iris. So she's out of here. She meets Thea Atwood, a.k.a. Atty, on the train. Also a war correspondent. The fact that they've got very little to their name. They have one, basically like a duffel bag and two jumpsuits with like the fact that they're a journalist, a writer, press, whatever you want to call it. But I love the fact that she's got someone else and that they get along really well. They have that in common. You can see that there's trust being built. They go to a B&B with Marisol, who's like, young 30s, married. She's running after this B&B during war times. So it's all hands on deck, basically. You start to build a little bit of a routine. What I find really interesting is that the only time that Iris has heard about sort of these monsters was the enemy's publication. She obviously understood that that's where you would find the truth of what was happening, and that they had almost been sort of, what is it when the document's been blacked out? It's been
redacted.
Yes. So they've kind of like not been allowed to share any truths from the war. And so
censored might be also what you're looking for.
Censored. Yeah. So the Gazette is obviously the Dacre supporters, whereas the Tribune. This is just a tribute. Again, Robin, every time. It's like, so moving from Fox News to CNN, basically. Ink-written Tribune. CNN not it anymore? I thought CNN was like what is? What's the... I mean, there's no reliable news source anymore.
That's why I'm asking.
There are a bunch. You can just get like the Associated Press or Reuters. Those are like news wires. Those are better. More neutral in general.
But okay. NPR, there is none. Ooh.
Associated Press.
Associated Press, yeah.
John Oliver.
KP Dubs, get out of here. Get out, take a lap. Brought up sport in my chat.
But he's not wrong.
He can still be not wrong and take a lap. You know?
ESPN
good
would report
flump.
on the lap.
It was a good flump, baby. Oh, did you see that flump, everyone?
Taking a lap, isn't that sports related?
Yeah, ESPN would report
Colleen,
on the
how
lap.
dare you turn against me like that? Your betrayal was inevitable, but still brutal. Jog it off, yeah. But anyway, what's really interesting is that she's getting firsthand experience of it. There's 3 sirens during the day. You got 2 minutes to get undercover. If you are outside and you can't get to cover, you got to drop because the Wyverns are up ahead. The Ethereals, and they'll drop bombs on anything moving. Brutal. And now we know that the bombs are real as well. If it's at nighttime, you got 3 minutes. Those hellhounds are coming. You got to turn off all the lights. You got to lock the doors. You got to hide your kids and hide your wife. So that's what. Thank you, Robin. I was waiting. I was like, you're gonna get that one. And there's another one where if it's on and off, then you got to evacuate, and that hasn't happened yet. But we experienced the hellhounds, and it's scary. This is kind of like a little slight horror theme where they're rampaging through. They're being quiet. Marisol's got the gun just in case, and you're like, ooh, wow, that's frightening. It's giving hiding Jewish people in a way. I felt in the wars, because they'd come and they'd search your house trying to look for if you're stowing away people. But these are hellhounds, and their day-to-days are very different. If they're not gardening, then they're going to the infirmary where they're trying to get a story, but it turns out soldiers who are wounded don't really want to talk. And so Iris has decided to get letters from wounded soldiers to pass on to their family, obviously because she can't get in touch with her brother. And she's like, we need to streamline this process and make it more available to people. Did Roman send the letters? He said I would do it the first thing the next day. Did he actually go to the post office and send those letters? Because personally, I need a man's words to match his actions. If he said he was going to do it and didn't, red flag. Got to be true to your word. I think that's a very important thing, personally. And then the book stops because we didn't read ahead of 25. We didn't read ahead, so you don't know what comes next. But to those 2 who did, 3, the field. That's all. What was that word? By the way, I'm new on Twitch. Oh, Empress, let me help you. By the way, I'm new on Twitch. Where did you say that? Well, let me give you the spiel about us. We are on a bunch of different things. Please join our Discord. That's where we have a lot of book discussions throughout the week. That's where you can find the schedule of where we do our Twitch streams. We're on Fable. We will put up the book in Fable. Fable's a really cool free app. You just look up Maude's Book Club and Maude's Bonus Book Club in case we do more than one book each month. And it does a chapter rundown of the book. So you can kind of like match people and not have spoilers. We actually try to implement strategies to not be spoiled. And then me with this mouth, see you later. Fable's really cool. I get a lot of conversation points from that. I love talking with the community in that particular way, chapter at a time. So I implore you to join Fable. Join our Discord, which is free. If you want to be in the call, this is a member's privilege, a member's perk. And there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 of you in here right now. We can get up, I think, up to like 25. So there's room. And we have a discussion, and I can see the videos that are in here, if people have them on, or the fact that they're in here. And so we can kind of have discussions in that way. It's really cool. Consider joining and helping. What else do we have, Tass? We're going to launch a podcast soon, which is just repurposing all the Q&As with the authors and getting new authors this year to add to it. Oh. Therapy, Colleen. Therapy. Therapy. We love therapy. Yeah, because I think suppressing things. We got the big ones. We have merch, modsbookclub.com. we do talking points after these shows and talk about what we've discussed so that other book clubs can reference our discussion points, which I think is really cute. We're going to be better about it though, which is why Tass is helping me put it together now. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Okay, but lovely to have you here. We will be back next week from 5 till 7 PT to talk about the rest of the book. So we've got like, a few weeks. And on the Discord, you can see the upcoming books. So in March, we're going to be doing the first book of the Poppy War series. In April, we're going to be doing Artemis. And May, it's gonna be May. Where is it? Where is the biggest book that I have? May.
Don't lift that book with your bad back, Maude.
I know, I will hurt it even more. We're doing Way of the Kings in May. Maybe even June at this stage. I might have to break it up. Who knows? What?
He's going to riot if we don't do Dark Age soon, just for the record.
I'm duly noted. But it's like, we will. We will.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
No, I know this alliance that's formed here. I'm very aware of it.
I got you back, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it.
You got in Patreon?
One day.
No way, really? We got anything like that? Empress, did you join the Discord? Notifications. 1. Yay! I'm not a muggle. Oh, great name. Great name. Welcome. I got distracted. I'm recognizing it. Welcome. Lovely to have you here. Now you can unlock all the rest of the show chat. You get access to the Google document that we do for the book. It's the Discord. Exactly. What do we think is going to happen in the second half of the book? I am exempt from answering. So are you, Thierry? So are you, Kate?
I think Roman's gonna come and meet her.
Where on earth did you get that idea from? I mean, in the scale of 1 to 10, how obvious was that?
At some
10.
point, since it says they're since it's billed as enemies to lovers, at some point they've got to get together and maybe start liking each other.
After all, no war can come between them.
I know you're saying it facetiously, but I'm like glistening eyes over here being like, yeah, that's right. Correct. How good. Did you fart? Did you tell me you're okay? Zelda gets so embarrassed when she toots. She'll literally like jump up and look to her butt and be like, I didn't. I'm like, no, it's okay. You tooted. Yeah, she's looking really, really shy. Caprita says, let me guess. Field? Where on earth did you get that from? I think that's nondescript enough. Cape says, in fairness, I was also going to predict that. Okay, what other predictions have we got apart from the obvious spoilers that I have spoiled to the spoilies?
I have one. Well, basically, so I already said that I think there's foul play involved with Esther's death, but I think there also might also be something going on with Roman's sister's death, Del or Georgiana. There's something. It seems too convenient that he just passed out for like a very short time, and she just happened to like, basically drown at that point. It just seems very strange. Like they went to this place. There's water. She doesn't know how to swim. I guess I don't know. It's not explained very well why she just started. Why she died there. Like what caused that? It just seems. I don't know. Like also like one of the reasons why it also is because we know how Enva improves people with music, but we don't know how Daker does or Daker. Daker. I can't remember how you pronounce it. Daker, Beverly. Yeah. So I'm trying to think if something to do with that. Like if there's something. Like if his way of recruiting is more negative.
Yeah, I wonder how he does recruit. That's really interesting. Fear, maybe? Avery said Roman's family supporting Dacre is going to be important. Absolutely. Terry says, do you guys think that Iris will find Forrest by the end of the book? I know for a fact that KP Dubs and I had a very similar thought, and that was after the prologue, where it was like, and then he went off to war. We were like, well, that's the last we'll see of him. So we have assumed that he's going to be dead. But now I'm not so sure. We also know that Marisol's wife is also was conscripted and is serving and has written a couple of times over 10 months. So it's a possibility, but there is still hope there. But you're right, we will find the answer to that in the second half of the book, I very much hope. Toastpo says, I've got no idea what might happen next, and I'm pretty happy about that. Well, sucks to be you being here around me, because I will inevitably serving, you say. I'll spoil it. Not on purpose, though. Never on purpose. Cash22 says, according to the multiverse theory, everything that could possibly happen will get out. Get out. Let's check in with Kate. Now that you've had the first half of the book thoroughly spoiled for you, would you read it?
I don't know. There are some parts that sound really, really interesting, but the whole romance thing, I'm just like, eh. So, like, the world and the whole the god stuff and all that stuff sounds really, really interesting.
The writing's beautiful. The writing's really well done. And it's a very easy read. Yeah, it's well written. It's beautiful. Robin says, I keep thinking that the gods aren't actually real and it's the government entities just manipulating everyone. Enver is the worst with her playing music that forces people to join her side. You think that there's... Well, I mean, there is the introduction of magic, though. So I think because the typewriters have magic, that mysticism kind of makes a little bit more sense. Because I feel like if you remove the gods part of it, then the other part doesn't make as much sense. But I do like that as like a twist for sure. Happy Dub says, I asked in Fable if the author felt pressure on her own writing after describing how well Iris writes. I saw that, thought the same thing. And it actually reminded me of Pierce when he spoke about writing Mustang. Because he said, I had to write someone who's smarter than me. And he was very, like, trepidatious, I guess, writing Mustang for that exact reason. And remember a while ago I read the first page of Dark Age and it was like Mustang's monologue. And we were like, what is every third word of what she's saying? It is a word I've never heard of before. And I was like, this just reeks of thesaurus and dictionary. So yeah, that is the tricky part about making people incredibly smart, because you need to write that. Yeah, truly need a dictionary for Mustang, says Ropanda. 123 Nudie says, took me about to page 250 to get into this book, and then I ordered the sequel as soon as I finished. I ordered the sequel by chapter 9. You give me that armor back and forth, that armor motif, I'm in. But I loved everything by chapter 3. 250 pages until you got into it? 250 pages?
Are there any predictions about, I can't remember her name, the B&B keeper, her wife is missing.
Yes, well, she's serving. Is that known? Is that a spoiler? Fuck.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler, we know.
Oh, good. Good. She's serving. Did you see the split, though? Like, the 250s, how did you only get into it around that? I was into it so fast. Almost spoiler. I just don't know anymore. Terry, you've given it a 3.5 out of 5, which I feel is disrespectful, personally. What is everyone else giving it? Oh, no.
Only because I think the second book is better.
You've already read the second book?
No. I think the second book is better.
But you haven't even read it yet. Okay. But the setup.
But I will read the second one.
Wait,
are we going to read it for book club, you think?
How are you doing a book
if
you
we
haven't
do it
read?
on the book club, yes. If not, I'm probably going to read it in between 2 books.
Okay.
There's a lot of head tilts there.
Avery says it's a solid 4 from where I'm at currently. Katie's giving it a big 5. Baden says about 4.25 currently. I am giving it, dare I say, a 6 out of 5. I've never done it before. But if I'm going to say that I love everything about it 3 chapters in and by the next book, by chapter 9, this book, I love it. I love this book. Lisa says probably around a 4.5 right now. Did Hayslip read it? I don't think so. I'll buy it for her for a birthday though. Susie says 7. I like that you had to one-up me. I respect that. I respect that a lot. My stomach's making noises. I didn't have dinner. I apologize, everyone. Adam's writing to me. I can't turn on my second monitor and I don't know why. I mean, it's on. All the cords are in, but it won't turn on. And also, if anyone was wondering why I was messing around with this, it's an ice pack. I've hurt my back. Empress says I don't love it entirely, but I will give it a 6 out of 5 just because it's beautifully written. KV Dubs. Cheeky. No, it's still not on. It's not registering. It registers like when I go into the display settings, it's like, you have a second monitor. And I'm like, I do, but like, why is it not on? So Adam says he's going to help me with that. What's the schedule? Oh, we're looking at maybe the schedule. Mum's going to guest for Poppy War. Mama Bear's going to come in for that one. I kind of wanted her to read this one, but you just don't know. I went in so blind with this book. So Freddie says if you want a good book and then you read a book that you enjoy even more, should that really make the other one worse? No, you just keep climbing up with the scores. Everything just keeps getting better. Oh, also, no one tell Mum that I shared the weird story. She will murder me. Murder me. That is one of those which is like, don't.
I can't wait to tell her the weed story.
Don't you dare, Kate. Don't you? I will
What
write
if
you
we
out of her
tell the
will.
story,
She
but
would
then
have to visit
we
to do
change the
it.
names?
What if you guys just like hint towards weed and someone has the gall to ask her if she's ever done it and we say
I'll
nothing?
say, hey, Maud's mom, did you know weed is legal in Canada?
And Washington State. There's some on my fridge right now.
Massachusetts.
I just can't use it because I'll lose my job. What if we just tell the story like it was our mom that said that to us?
No, she'll know. She's smart. You know that woman is smart.
She is.
My mom reads between the lines.
It
There
probably
is no
doesn't help we're
darkness
saying
there.
this all on a recorded stream.
Yeah, it's
You
out
think
there
she's gonna
now.
watch this? Come on.
Does your mom watch
No,
the
I'll have to
stream?
say to her, have to say to her, like, you know, I can't.
Oh, I know how to do it.
Because I have, you know, anxiety issues and it makes it worse. But you know who doesn't, Maude?
No, I hate weed. I do not like it. I forget where I am all the time. I had an argument with someone because I was high and they were like making a point and I'd be like, okay, I heard you. What was it one more time? And they're like, are you kidding me? I just said it. And I'm like, if you could just rehash it, that would be really great for me. And they'd say it again.
Rehash? Rehash?
Yay. What about, Kate, what if you say, Mrs. Garrett, I would respect you so much more if you smoke weed. That is the trap. That is entrapment. What is she going to say? Well, unfortunately, you have to lower your standards. I will disappoint you. Or is she going to go, which
Maybe
I think she might.
How do we know
she does meth?
How do you know your mom wasn't just holding it for someone else? Like, that's not mine. I was holding it for someone else.
Because she taught me how to roll.
Oh, wow. We can't ask her about that? Come on. All this talk
That's
is
how
making
she
me wish I could
rolls.
smoke weed.
I wish everyone had a relationship with their mother like I have with my mother. I'm so blessed. She's a great woman. Wrap it up, says Tass. Your homework is to finish the book. Some of you have already accomplished that. Everyone else, hey, Darren, you gonna read the book?
Probably not, just because I don't want to put down the book that I'm currently reading.
What's the book you're currently reading?
I'm reading A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers.
Okay.
A sequel to another book that she wrote. Great.
Oh, okay.
She's awesome.
Tass is reminding me that the conversation we started having was actually kind of the content that we have in our after show. The after show is only available to those that sign up for the Members Plus tier, and that is stuff that we talk about that should not be recorded. So thank you for the reminder that I should not be talking about those things on a recorded stream that people can find. How many book clubs are you in, Susie? Susie says, I'm in book clubs, but I got this. What is, you said E accidentally, so
E-book
that's
clubs.
either 3 or 4 on the keyboard. Which one? 3 book. What are the other books that they're reading? What's another book club? I know, look how many people are here. Hey guys, if you're here and you want to read more books, I run a sci-fi fantasy book club. We do minimum 1 a month. And because we talk about the book at a halfway point with the community, it kind of keeps you on track. So if your goal is to read more books this year, I implore you to join our book club. We have a Discord. The link's just there. Was that your tummy? I fed you dinner. Or were you just being a snotty little piglet? Baby. Empress is currently reading A Court of Flame and Shadow. No, A Court of... What is that?
Frost and Starlight.
Frost and Starlight, the 3.5. 3.5, where like 2 conversations matter. Spoilers. Susie said, we just finished talking about Winter's Bone this week. 2 weeks from now is a murder mystery. Oh, wow. That's like a really cool slate of different books. True, Kate. It is February. It's Black History Month. Read Black authors. We're going to be doing some recommendations in the Discord and on the website. If you want to know
N.K.
where to start.
Jemisin is one of the best sci-fi fantasy writers out there, multiple Hugo Award winner. If you want to read a Black author in February.
Which one out of N.K. Jemison's do you think people should start? Fifth Wave?
Yeah, I'd say, because that's like the one that's, you know, the most award winning. But then there is the Thousand Kingdoms, I think is the name of it.
Mm-hmm. We are doing 5th season soon. I know, it's like we always prioritize romance and love over Black History Month, which we need to swap that, I think. But we're going to be doing 5th season very soon. I have it. It's been on my TBR for a bit now. Just combine them. There's another series which is doing really well on Book Talk by a Black author. I think it's called Legendborn. Ooh, I'll figure it out. We'll put it in an article. But I'm hearing very good things about that. If you're looking for an Indigenous author, Rebecca Roanhorse. We've done 2 of her books of the series Black Sun and Fevered Star, with Mirrored Heavens coming out. I think it's August. We might pick up on that one. Really good stuff. Empress says, I love me some murder mystery, but not every book suits my style. Legendborn by Tracy Dion. Thank you, Lisa. There's a duology, right? For that one? I've just seen it all over Book Talk.
I believe it's a trilogy, but only the first 2 books are out, I think.
Ooh, so that's on my TBR. I want to read the crap out of that. I have a Pan-African comic anthology. What's that one, Colleen?
I've got, they tell a lot of African history, but using it like a sci-fi, and make, okay, I'm not explaining this well. It's based on African history, but it's written like it's sci-fi. So, for instance, one of the topics that that this particular series has covered was when Mussolini tried to invade Ethiopia.
Oh wow!
And the Ethiopians resisted. So, but
with sci-fi,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, they do it like superheroes and stuff.
Oh, okay. I really like the sound of that. If you've got recommendations, we do have a recommendations channel in the Discord. So I'd love to be recommending some Black authors all throughout February as well. Kate, thank you for that. Really appreciate that suggestion and bringing it up. We should be bringing it up all February. With that, we need to call it. Thanks so much to everyone who read half the book. Sorry that I spoiled. I do apologize. But hopefully it inclined you to read faster and more. Because you got something to look forward to. I'm trying to right my wrongs, aren't I? Was that it? Oh. Nettie Okafor. No, Okarafor. Who's Nettie Okarafor? What did they do? Thank you for the recommendation, though, Brad. Coming in strong there. Africa Risen is pretty fun. It's an anthology of fantasy and sci-fi stories by Black authors. Hell yes. A Carter Witch series. Tell me about that one, Kate.
I was just answering about Ennio Okorafor. She wrote the Akata Witch series.
Right, sci-fi. How do you join the video call, says Empress. If you've joined up to Members Plus, it's the second tier. You should have access to a call called Book Club. We're all in there. You should be able to click the button in the Discord and jump on in. What Maude said. There you go. Binty's also a great series, says Brad Trax. Nice. Let's raid. Who have we got today? Any recommendations? That's some weird recommended channels for me. Oh, Critical Role is on. Who needs to dip out to watch Critical Role? You probably will, says Terry.
No, I'm going to work.
That's right. I have a VOD.
That's a terrible idea.
We're gonna do Damien. No, that's not it. Damien Haas is so entertaining that he's a voice actor. He's been a voice actor on games that I've played. He's in the Alienware community. What was that? There's the Patreon sign up. You saw it here first. Hold on. Should we wait to see how quickly Empress can get in here? That would be really cool. You've got 30 seconds. Oh, let's see if they can get it. Are you there? So if you scroll down, you'll see a book club call with a bunch of us names in there. Just click that and it should let you straight in. The pressure is on. Surely this will be fine. Tass, it's a seamless transition, right? You join the tier, you got to connect your Discord. You got to connect your Discord. I'm trying, lol. Oh, how's the pressure I'm putting on this? She's probably like, I hope it's she. I just assumed with Empress. I made an assumption. I apologize. Thought City was a chick for the first little bit. City has no comment on that. Good.
I was AFK for a second.
Oh, were you? Oh, no. Okay. Wait. Oh, no, that's Tass. I mean, not to not be excited that Tass is in the call, though. Sorry. Oh, no, we've done it. We lost time. We ran out of time. What an anticlimactic ending.